Dearest gentle reader, matchmaking mamas are united in their glee. Colin Bridgerton has returned from Greece. Hi, welcome back to my channel, and today we are reviewing Romancing Mr. Bridgerton by Julia Quinn. So we're all very excited about season 3 of Bridgerton coming out soon, and my unpopular opinion is I hated Colin before I read this book. Mostly because of the last scene in season 2 where he's saying he'd never caught Penelope Featherington. And it left a sour taste in my mouth, so I wasn't as excited for his story as any of the others. But then I said, let me just take a chance and let me read the book and see how I feel about it, and then see how I feel about the show. Now, the show is coming out in about 2 days because today is the 14th. Today's the 14th of May, and the show comes out on the 16th of May, well, part 1 of it. And I just wanted to get into the book first, as you know, we gear up for the 3rd season. And of course, my favorite character season, Penelope Featherington. Now, I love Penelope Featherington. I think out of all the Bridgerton women, she's probably my favorite, right after Kate. Because, well, I love Lady Whistledown. Lady Whistledown is a perfect amount of messy, and I love messy things. So if you haven't taken a chance to watch these shows, you have like 2 days to catch up. Like if you binge watch, you could watch season 1 and 2 in 2 days, and be ready for the season 3 premiere. But yeah, so I love Penelope Featherington, and she's one of my favorites. I wore green earrings for her, and I'm really excited about her story because in the setting of the series and the kind of life they live back then, women aren't really as trailblazing as she is. She's an entrepreneur, she's a writer, she makes her own money. That's my girl, my Penelope. I love me some Penelope Featherington, and I was so excited to read her book because I have had so many good things to about it, and honestly, it did not disappoint. So let's get into it. So, what about this book? Let me pull up my notes. So I'm pulling up my notes, and I'm gonna go through a few things I want to say about the book without giving away too many spoilers. And then I think I'll do a second video on what things were similar to the book and what things were different from the book in the show. So I'm very, very excited about watching the show. So anyway, so Penelope Featherington, let's get into it. So in this setting, the book is set quite ahead of time. So this book is actually set a couple of years ahead of time after Anthony's story. No, it comes after Benedict's story, I think, because I'm actually not quite sure about this, but I think it comes after Benedict's story. And at the time in the book, Penelope is 28 years old and Colin is 33 years old. And when the book opens, he has just returned from Greece. Hence the gorgeous scene from Lady Whistledown that says, Dearest gentle reader, matchmaking mamas are united in their glee. Colin Bridgerton has returned from Greece. And of course, she does go on to say other things. But, this is the beginning of romancing Mr. Bridgerton. This is the beginning of romancing Mr. Bridgerton. So Colin Bridgerton has just returned from Greece. It is, of course, an enemies, friends to lovers, as I think the show is also going to be. And him and Penelope are cordial. They're good friends. She's mostly really actually close with Eloise, which is something I think gave me a hint of sadness, and because of the way it differs in the show. In the show, I don't think Eloise is a particularly good friend, whereas in the books, she's a really good friend to Penelope. They spend a lot of time together, and Penelope is also really close with Violet Bridgerton, Colin's mother. So I think that's bit of a difference from the series and the books. Eloise Bridgerton is a much better friend in the books. So Penelope is 28 and she thinks she's going to end up as a spinster living with her mom for the rest of her life. And she also does have a 4th sister whose name is Felicity. She's younger than Penelope, which is surprising because I kind of wish they had left her in the show. I think it would have been such a nice addition. I think that's why they brought in Marina instead of Felicity, but I like Felicity. She's sweet, very bubbly, and of course Penelope's mother is like, maybe Felicity should marry Colin Bridgerton, and Penelope cannot marry Colin Bridgerton. So kind of the thing about the Marina situation minus the pregnancy, kind of that same thing. So she's seen her with Colin Bridgerton, and as she's seen her dances with him, and also Lady Danbury makes her really really good impression in this book, and she's a lot more like the Lady Danby we know from the show. I think they really kept a lot of her personality in the show, and yeah. So Penelope is kind of not quite on the sidelines of society, but still on the sidelines of society. And I'm guessing she has lost. She's out of time to find a husband and to get married. Because she's no longer like 16, or I don't know how old they're when they get married in this show. But yeah, so she's more of a spinster. She hangs out a lot with Lady Danbury, and Lady Danbury and her have a really great relationship to the point where Lady Danbury announces a bounty for Lady Whistledown worth $10,000, and she announced that whoever can expose who Lady Whistledown is, she'll pay her $10,000. And Penelope is, of course, like, I don't think it's gonna come out. And when they ask Penelope who she thinks Lady Whistledown could be, she actually says, I think it's Lady Danbury, when of course we know it's not Lady Danbury, but to kind of throw everyone off her scent. And then, of course, this is like a major spoiler, but I don't think it's gonna go this way in the show because, Eloise already discovered her. But in the books, Cressida Cowper, I'm sure, is like everyone kind of can't stand her. Her husband died, she has no more money, and she shows up and says she is Lady Whistledown, so she can get the $10,000. And Penelope is so because this is my life's work. She can just take my life's work. And she decides to write. She had decided to retire Lady Whistledown before this, but she decides to write a Lady Whistledown script for one last time, announcing that Cressida is not Lady Whistledown. And as she's going to put this there, Colin Bridgerton finds her and he follows her. Wait. Yes, he follows her to the chapel and he's like watching her to see what she's doing because it's so odd that she'd be going out at this time and in such a weird place. And that is when he discovers that she is in fact Lady Whistledown, and for a few moments he loses his mind. He absolutely loses his mind. But we're gonna get back to the scene. So scene before that, so let's talk about Colin in the books. Colin in the books is the younger sibling. He's doing a lot of traveling. He's very free, but he needs a sense of purpose, and he hasn't figured out what he wants to do with his life. And of course, Anthony and Kate are there, as amazing as always. They have kids now in this book. And while he's there, I think one of my favorite things about his personality that I think they really left out in the show is how much he likes to eat. I thought there was a weird little addition about it. Like, if there's food, Colin Bridgerton is going to be there. And I thought that was really cute. There's a cute addition to his personality that has a really healthy appetite. And also, I did notice a few things from the Bridgerton trailer that they kept that are in the book. The part where he gets cut on his hand. But in the books, the part where he gets cut and she nurses his wound is kept in the books, is kept in the show, which I thought was absolutely lovely. And that is a scene. And also, I hope they keep this scene in where for their first kiss she asks Colin to kiss her. And most people actually interpreted this scene in a very weird way, in that they thought of it as kind of like her begging him to like her. And just like that wasn't really the case. That was kind of her speaking up for what she wants for the very first time. And I really love that scene, so I hope they really keep it in the show. As I don't want to do too many spoilers about the book because I want to see what's going to surprise us at their end. And I will make a second video about what things are different and what things are the same in the book and in the show. So I know a few scenes were kept, like the carriage scene. The carriage scene is a really good scene. I hope they didn't change most of it. It's a scene after Colin finds out she's Lady Whistledown, and then the carriage going home, and he tells the person to take the long way home. It's a really good scene. It's a spicy scene too. And that's the first time when Colin proposes marriage to Penelope and she turns him down the first time. Which is funny because we know how much Penelope likes Colin, but she actually turns him down in the books, and he has to ask her like around 3-4 times for her to marry him before she actually agrees. And I thought that was really cute. I love that he kind of had to work for it. And I would say that in this book, it's she falls fast, but he falls much, much harder because he falls really hard for Penelope. And I'm going to read you a few lines from the book that I absolutely loved. And yeah, let me just bring this up. So this scene is right after their spicy scene in the carriage, and with these kind of things in the whole honor and whatever thing. And in this scene, he comes into the house with her, And he says this one line that I really like. The first time proposes her to marry him, and he's just like, "For God's sake, Penelope," he said, grabbing her hand and yanking her down. "Are you going to marry me or not?" Which she promptly turns down this proposal because, well, it's not the proposal she imagined. So she turns this one down. And he does ask again and again until eventually she agrees to marry him. But I think I really like Colin's personality in this book because it's a lot more vibrant. We know that he actually has things going on. It doesn't seem like a one-dimensional character. Like sometimes in the show he kind of gets lost because what if Penelope is hyper focused on him, I think would lose him a lot of times. So I like that the book really fleshes out his character, his personality, and he's incredibly protective of Penelope, especially after he discovers she's Lady Wisdom and he wants her to stop being Lady Wisdom, but then he has to come to terms with the fact that this is who she is, it's what she does, and it's something that she loves. And then he goes like from worried about her to being incredibly proud of her and then wishing he could do something as big as that. And they do have a bit of a misunderstanding somewhere in there, but they work it out and we get out happily ever after. And I'm going to read you some passages from the book that I find that I love. And this is the one of Penelope describing why she loves Colin Bridgerton. And it says, maybe Penelope had thought, maybe Penelope had thought on more than one occasion, part of the reason she loved him was that he made her feel comfortable with herself. And this is right when he had just come back from Greece. And she's thinking about how much she likes him. And at some point in this, at the beginning, she's kind of given up on them ever being together. So I think she's very, very shocked by their progression in the relationship. And of course, one of my favorite scenes. So when she asks him to kiss her, he is shocked for a few minutes, and she unfortunately takes it as that he doesn't want to kiss me reaction. And this is kind of like, so it's a dual POV. So this is his POV when she asks him to kiss her. And it says Colin could think of 100 reasons why kissing Penelope Featherington was a very bad idea. The number one being that he actually wanted to kiss her. And after he kisses her in this scene, he cannot seem to stay away from her house. And everyone's just like, why is Colin trying to gossip Penelope every other day? That is so weird. And he goes like, I'm just going for the snacks. It's just the snacks. And it's another type of snack, just not the snack everyone else got. So this is right before their first kiss. And after he kisses her, it is just magic after that. They are inseparable after he kisses her. So he kisses her and then he finds out she's Lady Wisdom. And of course, I want to save best for last, which is Colin's love confession. And I think it was absolutely beautiful. Now, see, I read To Sir Philip with Love right after I read this, which is Eloise's book. I'll review that. Like, let me know if you want me to review that for you. But I still find that I really, really love Colin Bridgerton's love confession because it's a long time coming. It's kind of like when you've been holding your breath for so long and then they finally say the words and it's just like, finally, here we are. And this scene kind of felt like that. So I'm going to read you the part where she asks to kiss him. She asks him if he can kiss her. And then he's like, you can kiss me too, he whispered, leaning his forehead lightly against hers. She did nothing but blink. A kiss, he murmured, lowering his lips to hers again, although just for a fleeting moment, is for two people. Her hand stared at his back. What do I do? She whispered. Whatever you want to do, he said. And this is the scene right after their first kiss, and then he kisses her again. And then after that, I don't think he ever stops kissing her after this scene. And he goes very much from I'm in perfect marriage to I need to get her down the altar as quickly as possible. And so this is his love confession. He tenderly taking her face in his hands. I love you, he said, in his voice low and fervent. I love you with everything I am, everything I've been, and everything I hope to be. Colin, I love you with my past, and I love you for my future. He bent forward and kissed her once, softly on the lips. I love you for the children we'll have and for the years we'll have together. I love you for every one of my smiles and even more for every one of your smiles. And I love Anthony's love confession, but I like this one even more because we have been holding our breath for this love confession, and I think Penelope really needed to hear this. So one of my favorite scenes from the book is when, and my favorite scene from this book is when he goes to announce his engagement at her house, and it is such an out of mind idea to the Featheringtons that he could be coming in to ask for her hand in marriage. They don't even assume it until he has to like put his foot on and go like, I'm here to ask for Penelope's hand in marriage. And they're all just like, what? And he's like, yeah, we're getting married. And then after this, they have to wait about a month to marry. And he goes like, I don't think I can wait that long. I need a special license. So he decides to lie to his mother and Penelope's mother and insinuate that she might be pregnant, even though she's not, so that they can, rush down the altar. And it works, and they're married very quickly. And oh, yeah. And also, he does go on to announce that she is Lady Whistledown out in the open when Cressida tries to threaten her. And he announces this at Daphne and Simon's ball. And this is how he announces it. So he pulls up to, the stage, and he's just like, I give you my wife, he said, his love and pride flowing across the room. Lady, we sit down. And it's just shock for a moment, and then the clapping starts. Because I think she was so scared everyone would hate her for the thing she wrote. When really, I think it was more like, oh my god, I cannot believe it's been you this whole time, and you've been writing these scandalous shits about us this whole time. And this is how everyone finds out about Lady Whistledown. And I think this is the after this she gives up being Lady Whistledown, and so she's not quite featured in any of the other books, unfortunately. Now Penelope is, but Lady Whistledown isn't. But I think I hope they change that about the book. I hope she keeps writing as Lady Whistledown, and I'm kind of hoping a secret doesn't come out because I like how witty she is as Whistledown. But she encourages. So their relationship is one I find I like quite a lot because of the patience they have taken to build the kind of love they have for each other. In that, while he's feeling very all over the world, he's traveling, he hasn't quite figured out what he wants to do with his life. And she helps him realize that he actually wants to be an author when she reads his journals and says they're actually really, really good and he should publish them, which he starts doing, and he becomes an author in his own right. And she supports him, she helps him edit his work, and she actually decides to go back to writing, but not as Lady Whistledown actually. She decides to go back to writing, like romance novels and stuff like that. And I think it's absolutely gorgeous that they are so supportive of each other. Of course, ups and downs happen with every couple in a romance book. But with these two, I think the foundation of the friendship really allowed them to move things along faster than other couples would have. And because you can really tell how much they actually love each other, which is why after reading this, I fail to believe the whole he doesn't notice her thing, because I think he's in love with her the whole time. He just doesn't know it yet. Like it just hasn't clicked yet for him because they've been friends for so long. And you know how it's like when you've been friends with someone for like a really long time, and it kind of like sneaks up on you that on like a random Wednesday morning that you might actually be in love with this person, and then it's just like, oh my god, I'm actually in love with this person this whole time. So I think that's kind of like a thing. So I'm going to have to disagree with the one that says that Colin does not like Penelope like that. I think he likes Penelope like that because if you go back and you watch the show, there's a way that he looks at her when he enters rooms that she's in, and just like, that is not a friendship look. It lingers for way too long to be a friendship look. I was like, well, he might not know his feelings for her. I do think he has really strong feelings for her, and I think he has loved her this whole time. He just didn't know what it was. And yeah, so Colin and Penelope Featherington. Of course, she goes from Penelope Featherington to Penelope Bridgerton. And I just cannot wait to see their story on the screen because personally, I absolutely adore them. And I'm afraid to say my mind was changed. It was changed. I'm a supporter of Colin Bridgerton now. And I kind of hate what they did to him in the show for that last episode because I was about to not watch this because like I couldn't believe he would say that about her. And I'm so glad I read the book because that scene actually does exist in the book, but he doesn't say to his friends. Rather, he says it to his mom, and not in a malicious intent. It's more of when she goes like, "What about Penelope?" And he goes like, "She's like a sister to me, you know. I wouldn't marry Penelope for them. She's like a sister to me." And then he eventually realizes this, no, she's nothing like a sister to him, and he's actually very madly and deeply in love with her. So yeah, I cannot wait to watch the show, and I definitely want to make a video. I definitely want to make a video on this book versus the show after I watch the show, like maybe once or twice, because I like to rewatch things. And then I'll tell you what things I found was similar to the book and what things they changed. Because another one thing they changed was their age. So this book happens a lot earlier than it does. Like the show happens a lot earlier than it did in the books because they're much older in the books. So I cannot wait to see what things have changed, what things they've kept in, and let's all tune in. So remember, 16th of May, into Bridgerton season 3. Let's watch it and we'll give our reviews here together. So if you have any other books you'd like me to review for you, or even any of the other Bridgerton books, I would gladly review them for you, tell you what things are different, what things are the same, and what I like about the books, and my favorite lines from them. Once again, thank you for spending some time with me and thank you for all the support. Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn notifications on for new videos. Bye.